All right, so our project's called Meetup to Eatup, and essentially what it is, it's a networking app, aka a dating app. Yeah, we chose to do dating app because they've been successful, and we've seen a lot of success, and a lot of single people have dating apps. So we're like, all right, how can we expand upon these dating apps because they're really simplified right now. So we decided to incorporate one feature into the standard dating app, which is food preference, hence the name Meetup to Eat Up. So basically how the site works is you'll get you'll initially sign up where you can put in all your information and your gender preference, depending on, and you submit that, and from there you can log in, and once you're able to log in, you will go into Meat Eaters, where you have two different search parameters. And here, depending on your location, you will plug in where you are. So, for example, I could put in New York City, and say I want some burgers. So this is generally good for if you have like an interview in the city, or you're just new to the city in general, and you want to network around the area, and you're eating by yourself. This is a good app to just generally find some things to do in the area and meet some cool people. So let me find someone in the city who wants some burgers. And look at that, two people. I'm gonna have burgers with Justin Bieber. All right, so that's pretty cool. And and then also we used Yelp API to give us a bunch of restaurants within New York City with ratings. Again, this is generally for people new to the area, so this could be pretty helpful. Another thing I could do, I could click on Justin Bieber, and he can give me some information about him. Also, so I can get his contact information. Right now, we do have the password in there, which is probably not a good thing, so we're gonna get rid of that. Let's go back, and we can also click on restaurants, and it'll bring us to the Yelp. And all right, so we're gonna quickly go over how we use the Yelp API. We had to create this initial Yelp file where we had to use a package, an npm package called Node Yelp, and it gave us a lot of the code to down here. Where is it? Down here to search for the user input, which is user location and user food, which we're able to extract from the data. And essentially, this file gives us. We created two different APIs, and we're just getting data and then posting it from the form input. That's one API, and then we created a different API to hold all the Yelp restaurant information. So down here, we're just looping through all the restaurants and simply pushing it to the data file and the API. All right, I'm going to hand it off to Mauricio to talk about how we use the database.
Hello everyone. So my part was to create the database and make sure that the user's input goes into the database. So first thing is first I had to use npm Sequelize to put in the content into the sign up HTML, and in the columns I use is first name, last name, age, email, username, password, food, and location, including photo, gender, and gender preference. Then afterwards, we will match by the location, food, and gender preference. And once this part is done, we'll route it onto the API routes, and from there we'll link this up to the HTML, and then onwards. I have to make sure that everything is done correctly, in the sense that all the jQuery is put in, so that way the user could put in all this information, and then it'll be sent into the database.
Hello, everyone. So Steve did a lot of good work on the Yelp API, and Mauricio did on the database, and my responsibility was kind of put it all together, make the front end, and get the data routed from place to place. That proved extremely challenging, but once we got that down, this project kind of went downhill from there. It was a lot easier to handle things. One thing that was special for me is just to figure out how to kind of differentiate the food preferences from the other form inputs, the sign-up food preference. So what I did there, as Steve mentioned a little bit, was make two different APIs. Let me pull up my API route so you can go along with me here. So at the top here you see there's a listings and a data, and those are two required JavaScript files in the data folder. The listings one is where all the Yelp info is going to be handled, and the user data one is where your user preference is going to be handled when you go and pick a location and a food to eat. Let's see. We made a basic query here, the match query here, and that's going to happen when you get matches. And we're running a search query that's going to find all based on your gender preference. If you prefer males, it's going to query the food and location you chose with a male preference. If you prefer females, it's going to do the same with females, or else if you choose no preference, it'll bring everyone back. Let's see. In data questions, data/questions anyway, we query the food selections. So when you go into our questions page and make a selection of what type of food you want and where you are, it'll update this user data array. What's good about that is we keep every preference you make in an array, so that when we go on to flesh out profiles and such, we can actually keep a record of previous preferences you've had, and you can share those with everyone else on your profile. Front end pretty much uses a Bootstrap layout that's that we've kind of learned in class, and I'm kind of getting used to. One thing I didn't like about Bootstrap was the carousel that comes with it. It's kind of chunky looking, and it's not touch responsive. I was able to find a jQuery plugin I've used before called Slick Carousel, and I like it because it's responsive, and it's also responds to drags and clicks. So if you use it on a phone, you're able to swipe through that kind of stuff. When we meet up here, let's see. Trying to pick something I know that we have some entries in there for. These are just, each of these individual Yelp ads is a listing, and I'm pushing all those to an array, and I'm just showing all of them. Our actual listings API, as I tried to describe it to my teammates here, is an array. It's an array full of arrays of objects. So each search you make pulls up the last array of objects, and that's what comes up here on the listings. Other than that, we do have some future considerations. We are in the middle of working on authorization. Once we do that, we'll definitely be able to flesh out this member profile thing much better. But as you can see, all the data we need, including the password, which probably shouldn't be, but all the data we need is exposed, and we could make a profile page out of that. And since this is social media combined with restaurants, there's also lots of opportunities to monetize this app with services like OpenTable to make reservations, or with Meetup.com itself just to plan events. And there's probably more we can do with it than that. But I mean, in closing, this was a huge learning experience for all of us. I was extremely hazy on API routing with Express before we started, and this was kind of a trial by fire in that respect. And working with these guys has been a pleasure, and thank you very much for your time.